Every year around New Year, I spend some time in reflection and reviewing of my previous year and setting up for the next year. I have built a series of habits or a series of tasks that I do every year around New Year to set myself up for success. As someone who has spent years in technology leadership and business, I know the value of preparation, whether it's leading teams, driving innovation, or setting myself up for personal success. I've found these steps to be highly powerful and impactful. So, in today's video, I'm going to share with you these 10 steps or preparations that I do for New Year so that I can set myself up for success. My hope is that through this video, you will identify some of the steps that you can take to set yourself up for a stronger foundation to drive momentum and success in 2025. Before we get started, a quick reminder to 92% of you who haven't yet subscribed to my channel to do so now and click on the notification bell icons so that you can be notified every time I release a new video. Your support means the world to me. And now let's get started. The first step is to review your previous year's goals and refresh them for the next year. Now, some of the goals that we create, some personal goals and professional goals, can be multi-year goals, and some of them can be short-term goals. So for the short-term goals, I review those goals to identify whether I was successful or not and to what extent. What activities did I do to drive success for those goals? And does it really make sense to carry those short-term goals forward to the next year? If it does, I refresh those goals and align them with the next year and take them forward. If the purpose of those goals was served in the previous year, then I remove those goals from my goal list and bring new goals for the next year. Now, some of the goals that I have are long-term goals. For example, one of the goals that I have is to build this YouTube community such that it spans globally. Now, that is a long-term goal. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in 1 year. But reviewing the numbers and the data from last year helps me understand whether my strategy is working or not and what do I need to change in my strategy for the next year. This reflection is critical. It's not about judging yourself, it's about learning what worked and what didn't. For me, it's about sitting down and journaling what different strategies did I use, whether they worked or not, and what challenges did I face in the process so that I can address them or find tools or ways or people to help me address those so that I can achieve the goals in the next year. For those of you who know me, know my passion for financial freedom and simple investment strategies to achieve our retirement goals. And the next task on the list aligns with that. It's auditing and aligning my investment strategy. So financial health is a cornerstone for long-term success, and it's perfect time at the end of the year to revisit your investment strategy. Now, for me, it's not just about where am I invested, it's also about how close am I to the goals. In my case, these can be retirement goals, or it could be college funding goals for my kids. So I look at it holistically and identify whether my investment strategy is working or not. How close am I getting to my goals? Is it time to disinvest or reinvest in certain portfolios? And at this time, what I typically do is, after reviewing my investment strategy, where I am towards the goals, how diversified I am in my portfolio, I set up a meeting with my financial advisor to go through it together. We review the performance, we make adjustments that are required, we plan for the next year. And really, if you look at 2025, there's going to be so much hype around AI, green technology, blockchain. These are the sectors that are growing, that are shaping up the industry, and I would want some investments around that. So that's a conversation that I'm going to have with my financial advisor to help me guide through the process and help me identify the areas in which I should be investing. Talking about financial health, let's talk about another thing that's always on my task list around this time, and that is reviewing all my subscription and my expenses. It's just amazing how certain small expenses add up. Subscriptions that you no longer use, memberships that don't add value, or services that don't serve your goals anymore. And oftentimes for me, all these subscriptions or memberships are on auto pay or monthly pay. So they're just charged to my credit card. And this time is a perfect time to review that and change those settings if needed, so that I'm not charged for them next year if I don't find value in those memberships or subscriptions. It's a perfect time to use those savings from those cancelled memberships and subscriptions to invest in the areas that truly matter, like upskilling, self care, experiences that bring me joy, or to move them back into investment. In the same vein, let's talk about the fourth thing that I do religiously every year, and that's eliminating routines that did not work the previous year. One thing that I've learned is that not every habit or routine works in every season of the life. This is the time when I take stock of my daily and weekly routines. What energized me in 2024? What felt like a drain? I look at my calendar because everything is scheduled on my calendar, and identify whether some of those recurring meetings that I had, some of the recurring activities that I had on my calendar, do they still make sense, or is it time to remove them from my routine and bring some new things in? Just to give you an example, about 2 years ago, I started my day with a strict 5 a.m. workout routine. I really wanted to join Robin Sharma's 5 a.m. club. I really worked towards it, but reality is that I'm not a morning person. It worked for me for a while, but over time it became more of a stressor than a motivator for me. So I shifted with more flexible things like walking and doing yoga in the evening as opposed to getting up at 5 a.m. That thing did not work for me at all. So it was time to push it out of my routine and bring something new into my schedule. So one pointer that I have for you over here is that if you have tried something and it's not working out for you, don't push it anymore. Don't be afraid to let go of your routines that no longer serve you. Experiment with new ones to align with your current priorities, your new goals. The next one that I want to talk to you about is particularly important to a lot of us who do most of their work on their laptops and PCs. And this is to purge digital files and declutter your devices. If you look at it, digital clutter is a productivity killer. During this time, I take time to clean up all my devices. And it's not just physical cleanup, it's going into each and every folder, identifying which of the files are old and they can be deleted, deleting emails that I no longer need, organizing folders, uninstalling apps that do not serve their purpose. This is something that I always do around this time, and it feels like a digital reset. A clean, organized digital workspace sets the tone for a focused and efficient year. I do the same for my phone as well. So anything that doesn't serve my purpose for next year, I remove it from my phone to make some space on my cell phone as well. So pro tip over here is that for every year, I create a new project folder. So for 2025, I have a project folder saying 2025. That way I know what goes into this folder. Speaking of reviewing and refreshing, this time is also the perfect time to refresh your personal brand. Your personal brand is your professional calling card, and it's worth revisiting as you enter the new year. For me, this includes updating my LinkedIn profile, reviewing my bio and my headshot to include new accomplishments, and reflecting on how I want to show up as a thought leader in various communities on my Forbes profile, on my LinkedIn, and on other social media profiles. Now, when doing this activity, think about how you have evolved over the past year. Does your online presence reflect who you truly are and the growth that you have had in the past year? 2025 is a great time to amplify your voice, whether it's through writing, speaking engagements, or mentoring. So, if your personal brand does not reflect all the growth that you have had in the previous years, it's time to pause and review your personal branding and refresh it. The seventh thing that I want to talk about is very personal, but it's very important. And that's about creating a plan for learning new skills. As many of you know, I always talk about continuous learning, how I spend 30 minutes every day to learn something new. And I balance it out with technology and leadership and business, because as a thought leader, I connect the dots between technology, leadership, and business. So I have to be continuously updated on what's going on when it comes to the technology landscape, the leadership landscape, and the business landscape. And one of the constants in my career has been to continuously learn. So In 2025, I'm going to be exploring areas like generative AI. I'm going to be exploring how businesses are moving and what does the economic landscape look like. I'm going to be reviewing a lot of content from World Economic Forum. I'm going to do a lot of thought leadership for Forbes. So all those things become a part of my learning goals for the next year. As I plan for the new year, another thing that I religiously do every year is to look at my network, reviewing my network, reaching out to mentors, peers, and collaborators, letting them know that I value their support and insights. For me, this is often done through a quick note of gratitude or scheduling a coffee chat to reconnect before the year ends. This is also the time to pick up some of the relationships that you were not able to maintain during the year and kind of bring them to the forefront. So for me, it's about identifying which people in my network I'm going to be able to support with my new goals, which people I need help from, and kind of nurture that network to align with my next year goals and long term goals as well. So for me, when I think about networking, it's always about how can I support you and how can you support me. So having this connection, building this connection during the start of the new year always helps reset those expectations, understand what are the goals of the other person, understand what are your goals and how do they align, and how you can best support each other. Now I'm going to tell you about a tool that I use to maintain focus and balance. And this is the ninth item on my list, and that is to create a not to do list. While setting your goals and planning for the new year, it's extremely important to create a not to do list. I learned this years ago, and it has always helped me maintain focus and balance in my life. While setting the new goals are important, it's actually very important to identify what you won't do. For example, I won't take projects that don't align with my long term vision or my short term goals. I won't overcommit to things to drain my energy. This is my mantra for the year. Now, a couple of years ago, when I was building my practice, when I was building my coaching practice, when I was building my consulting practice, I actually overcommitted to things. I spent a lot of time, burnt a lot of midnight oil to build that up. But now I'm at a stage where I need to find that balance between my personal and professional life. And that's why if I overcommit to things, I know that it will drain my energy. I'll have to pull out from my personal life, and I'm not at the stage where I can do that right now. So that goes in my not to do list this year as well. Creating this not to do list every year helps me set boundaries and protect my time and energy for what truly matters to me in that particular year and helps me achieve my goals. And the last thing that I do, and I want to leave you with that, is I take time to visualize my next year. I take time to imagine what success in 2025 looks and feels like for me. For me, this involves creating a vision board. I actually use Canva to create my vision board. I include images, I include words that matter to me, symbols that represent my goals and aspirations. And this visualization really helps me and serves as a daily reminder for what I'm working towards and why what I do matters the most. So this vision board that I create, or the visualization that I create in Canva, becomes the background for my laptop. It also becomes the wallpaper on my cell phone, and I take a printout of it and it goes in my office as well. So as many reminders as I can have around my goals, around the words that I live by, around the things that matter to me, really help me show up every single day when my motivation is low, because I know the purpose that I'm living for. So I hope that these 10 things give you some idea of how to plan for 2025. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's built on small, intentional actions that are taken consistently over time. As you prepare for 2024, I would love to hear from you. What are some of the things that you do to prepare for the new year every year? Which of these 10 steps will you start with? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. I'll see you next week with yet another video. Till then, have a successful week. Bye-bye.